How we work with coding agents is evolving every single day. They can only just read and write files. They can go ahead and understand the context of your code base. They can make tool calls, MCP server calls, API calls, and they can run locally in the background in the CLI. They can run in the cloud. I can even open the GitHub mobile app and fire off a new session right there. It's truly astonishing the things that we can accomplish today. But if you're like me, you may have been living and breathing in sort of this code first development style with a VS Code open and your agent chat over on the right hand side and working with an agent. And maybe you evolved to sort of opening and flying out that sessions pane where you could have multiple sessions on your current project working, and you could spin up, cloud sessions or background sessions at the same time. You get those little notifications that one's done running. You gotta go check in on it. But if you are like me, you may also have multiple instances of VS Code open because you're working on multiple projects. And if you're also like me, you not only have multiple VS Code opens, you might have multiple CLIs running and also cloud agents running. So how do we evolve past this code first development style? Well, that is where the brand new agents window comes in with an agents first approach. It's complementary. It's a part of VS Code. It's a little button that opens a brand new window that allows you to manage all of your sessions across all of your different workspaces, running locally on your machine, in the background of the CLI, or in the cloud, or even on a remote machine. It's really astonishing, and I've fallen in love with it. So I want to give you a crash course on how I use it, what it looks like if you're brand new and see that open agents in the top right, what it means, so you can get your hands on it and start working across multiple agent sessions and multiple workspaces all at the same time. So let's dive in. All right, here I am inside of VS Code, and this is my normal code first approach. I'm working here on Tiny Tool Town. I've been working on adding a new feature here that says browse a town. And instead of showing all the filters, it just goes ahead and shows one here. So I have my code on the left, I have my pull requests, I have my current changes that are here, and I can see my running sessions on the right-hand side. So here's that update filters. I ran that in the background with the CLI and just locally in this workspace, so just on main. And if we go ahead and tap here, we can go ahead and review everything. I could follow up on here. I could say, okay, show more filters. And I could say, okay, maybe don't show all of them, right? There's so many of them. I could say, okay, actually only show 10 more at a time and keep the button until they keep clicking, right? So kind of kick that off here, and that's going to go send it off to the CLI. Now, if we go back, we can see I have other sessions here. So I have another one. This is actually running in the cloud. So it's a cloud session where I was doing an analysis of the star updates. That gives me some updated information here. Now, I also fly this out, and often I'll pull out the other sessions so I can jump between them, right? I can review the code changes, keep them, review them. And then when I'm satisfied with, let's say, the code changes for the update filters, I'd come over here, I'd do a little commit message, I'd commit that, I'd create the PR. Hopefully I don't forget to create a new branch here, not on main. And then what I would do is I would create a pull request and maybe do a code review right at the same time. So I can do all of that. Now, I'm not only just working on this one application, I'm also working on another application here too. So here, if I go over, I can see that I'm working on this Tiny Clips application, which is a Swift app. That's a little app that I have up here that allows you to take screenshots and videos. So I can take this here and I can say, actually, let's do a little arrow over here. Look at that, look at that. You could do 1, 2, 3, kind of nice, doing tutorials. And I have a session here to add a default video timer to the settings. So that's pretty nice. And I can spin up new sessions. I could do it locally on my machine, use the Copilot CLI for the background, for the cloud if I wanted to here. And then, of course, I could use the Claude agent SDK if I prefer that harness. We're not only just bopping around from code editor to code editor, we're also figuring out how do we manage sessions inside of here? How do we go back over when that one's done, pull back over here, have this one open, right? Do the code review, hit the allow. What am I doing basically back and forth to actually see these things run? And that is where the agents windows comes in. So you can get to it from a few different places. One, it's just in the top right, open in agents. But you can also, if you were to open a brand new window in VS Code, you'll see it right here. It'll say, try the new agents window. So if you just pop that open, you're on the welcome screen, it'll be there too. But here I'm going to go over to Tiny Tool Town and let me just open an agents. And here is the agents window. So when I opened it up, we can see that it opened Tiny Tool Town. And in fact, it has the Tiny Tool Town solution open here. And I can see on the left-hand side all of my sessions for Tiny Clips, the ones that I was running, and also for Tiny Tool Town, ones that were running in the cloud and also in the CLI here. If I tap on one of the sessions, it boots it up. And then I can see all of the code changes. I can have follow-up sessions. I can change modes. I can go ahead and change models if I wanted to here. And then if I'm satisfied, I can commit the changes, or I can even view the changes right in line. So for example, if I'm reviewing these changes and I was like, you know what, batch size, I don't really love that. I could actually say, let's make it more dynamic and increase by 5 each time they click it. So then I can go ahead and add that in, and I can submit that feedback based on the feedback here and that comment that I left in the code. So it's actually a different way of approaching the feedback for reviewing that. Instead of just doing a follow-up message like I did earlier, I can click on the code changes anywhere in line, tap on it, and I can go ahead and add that. I can do a review on it, and I can do a lot more. So I can add those feedback to those changes right in line. Now this is running and we can see that my session is here, but if I was on another session on the left-hand side, we'd also see that this needs to run npm run build. So I could allow that directly from it, not to jump directly back into the session. I get that notification. But notice here that this is running in the cloud, and then also Tiny Clips was also running. So here, for example, I can see those changes are right in line for that default timer that it was giving me. Now that's actually cool, but I want to do that code review. So there, instead of just merging changes, I can go ahead and simply click Run Code Review. This is now going to run a local code review on my machine. Now, what I want to point out here is that this is actually running on a work tree. Now, if I wanted to open that work tree, I can just say Open an Editor, and that's going to open Tiny Clips directly on that work tree for me automatically. So we see agents add default video timer settings. That's actually different to where I was working earlier. If I go back over here, which is just on main. So I can see this here, but I was working in a work tree. That was managed for me automatically. And the agents window knows how to open that work tree up directly. So that's super duper nice. Okay, so this is looking pretty cool, but maybe you come in to the agents window and there's nothing there. You can click on new, and this is where we're going to create a new session. So you can select any folder locally on your machine and get to work with the Copilot CLI. You can also tap on GitHub, which will show you your Git repositories. You can also say select and actually open some stuff up here if you desire. But here, let's just work on local for now. And I'm just going to work on Tiny Tool Town. Here, what I'm going to do is say, let's add a new VS Code theme to the app. Again, I can select my model if I want to. Let's just go with 5.3 codecs. I like that. And then I can work with different approvals. So I can bypass autopilot. I can work just on the local folder, which would be main, but I'm going to create a work tree because I'm already working on the local folder. We can see it by that folder icon. And I can select what different branch I want to create the work tree off of. In this case, main. So I'm going to go ahead and fire that off. Now here, I do have some uncommitted changes on main. So I'm just going to say skip those changes. And now an isolated work tree will be created for me automatically, and it's going to get to work right here. Now this time, we can see that I have this code theme that's going on, but I can now jump to any of these other ones here. So I can go filter here, batch size. So I can go back over here. I can take a look. Now let's go back to new, and we're going to try a few other things. I'm going to go over to GitHub, and I also have the Tiny Tool Town. And here I can also select cloud, right? So here, for example, since this will be a brand new session, I'm just going to go ahead and say, let's go ahead and create a new Xbox theme for the app. I'm just coming up with things off the top of my head that are there. But again, here, I'm just going to go ahead and delegate that off, and then it's going to go ahead and create that. And once that's created, it'll show up directly inside of my sessions as soon as that spins up. Now, on top of that, what I also want to show is that all of my customizations are here. So we have agents, we have skills, instructions, everything that we would see inside of VS Code, but directly here. And I can customize that for the Copilot CLI or the Claude Agent SDK if I want to use that. Okay, so let's say we wanted to add a new folder in here and work on something else. I'm going to go into new, and I'm going to say local, and I'm just going to say select. This is going to allow me to browse my machine. Now I'm going to say show local just because I want to see the full picker, and mostly because I have all my files on an external drive. So here I'm going to go ahead and say James on GitHub, which is a new repo that I created. And here, for example, I just have a license and a README. So what I want to do here is I want to say, let's create a fun static website for github.com/James Montemagno, highlighting their contributions, active projects, and tons of code stats from GitHub. And again, here, I'm just going to go ahead and say work on a work tree, fire it off, and this is now going to be created. We can see that a new session has been optimized for me over here, and all of these things are running. Now, I could also follow up with this too, and I could follow up immediately here and say, hey, don't forget, right? And I can see my context, I could stop, and I can do normal steering, add to queue. But I may want to, for example, have it, I don't know, maybe scaffold CI/CD to GitHub pages. So I'm going to have it also create a sub session here. And a sub session basically allows me to switch between different chats. So it's in the same workspace. So I can ask it questions, I can run tasks, and I can explore ideas. So I'm going to say, hey, can we also update the CI/CD for GitHub pages? Boom. I can do that. Now, that's really, really cool. So for example, that's just going to fire off and now run these side by side in the same work tree. Another great example would be this one running on the VS Code theme. I could do a backup here and I could say, hey, what active themes do we have, right? Just asking questions. So while this one is running, we're going to see here, this is going to be active themes, and it'll go ahead and follow up with the active themes that I have. So I don't have to stop what I'm doing, but I'm running them all here at the same time. So this is pretty cool. So this is going through, and I can of course change these. So if I want to say, you know what, let's go ahead and autopilot this puppy. And now we're good to go in autopilot mode as it scaffolds out the project in near real time. And also it creates the CI/CD for me here. Now the subsession has its own permission, so I'm going to allow that too. Okay, so now you might be saying, well, James, this is pretty cool. I'm creating new sessions. I'm going in, I'm managing all of them. And when I'm done with a session, I can also go ahead and remove them, right? Now we can see things are really bopping around because things are finishing up. So what I can do is if I really have something active is I can pin these, and these are going to pin them at the top. So maybe I really want to finish these things up here, right? For these different ones. So I can pin those and they'll be right up top. I can also apply filters, so I can sort by created, updated. I can group them by workspace or time, show all sessions. If I'm done with something or I don't want to ever use it again, I can just hit this checkbox here and it'll go away. I can always bring it back if I desire. If I really want to focus, I can zoom in here. But there is so much more, okay? So for example, let's say I wanted to really focus in on this update filter one, the one that I've been giving feedback on too. I can come over here and I could go ahead and open a full terminal. So I could say npm run dev, and this will go ahead and spin this up. I could go ahead and tap on this, and sure enough, I get an integrated browser right there. So I can go ahead and test the changes locally on my machine. So I can say 5 more, 5 more, 5 more, et cetera, et cetera. So that's really cool to see it all in line right there. Now I don't seem to actually have a run task. So let's go ahead and generate one, which would be quite nifty. So let's say I was to stop this here. I could come over and I could run any task. So if you have any VS Code tasks, they'll show up here. There's also an open browser. But I'm going to say generate new task, which is going to run it right here. Now, you probably have tasks inside of your project if you're running in VS Code, but in this case, I don't have one. So there's a built-in generate run commands that will go ahead and spin up these files for me. Now, there we go. We have it. So now what we see is that this little run button is here, and I can run and start the dev server or install the dependencies. So I'm going to go ahead and start this up. It's going to now automatically boot that up, watch for files changes, and I can just go ahead and tap it, right? So I get that nice loop directly inside of the agent's window. Okay, a lot of things are happening. I'm jumping all over the place, but I'm having a blast. So I'm going to go back over here into this default. And what I want to show you is I'm going to focus in on this session. So this is the one where I was going in, and I was seeing that I have some changes here for the countdown time picker for the settings. And here's the video settings section. Now I did apply some different feedback, but I also asked for a code review. I can tap on that button and we can see that we have 3 different pieces of feedback. I can of course add more feedback myself. So here I can go ahead and modify this. I can review it, and let's go ahead and just add this here. So we can hover over and we can say convert to agent feedback. I can come up here. I'm going to convert this to agent feedback. And then this last one down here, I'm also going to add it. Just like if I was manually adding feedback, I could also take the code review and then submit that back over. So I'm submitting that back over, and now it's going to go ahead and get to work and act on that feedback. So that's super duper cool, right? All right, that's going to get to work. Let's see what else we have over here. So we have a few more agents running in this machine. So we have the new VS Code task that's running up. We have the Xbox theme that's happening. All right, so we're able to basically bop around and see this. Now it's running full Xcode builds here. It's running my theme. It's doing everything that we would expect. And it looks like it's going and reapplying those changes that I made. All right, cool. We have a few more commands that it wants to go ahead and get for our Git changes. And then what I want to show you is how we actually merge these in. So to make those changes, I can go in and do a few things. I can merge changes in sync, or I can create a pull request. Now, if you remember, this is on a work tree. So what this would do if I did merge changes is it would merge it back to wherever the work tree was made off of, which I think was made in this case. But I want to go ahead and create a pull request. And then I can go ahead and create the pull request, or even create a draft pull request. And I can do the same things over here. If I want to commit these in, it'll automatically create my commit message, or I can do a code review. All right, wow. Okay, let's do a quick overview here. We have all of our sessions pinned, finalizing, being able to jump between the different code editors directly here. I can go ahead and open this one, for example, which is going to know exactly where that work tree is and open it up for me to review with the current session. I'm able to filter. I can create new sessions. I can go ahead and open them directly remotely or on my machine. And I can use the Copilot CLI, Cloud, or Claude session here, base that. I can work on a work tree, on a branch. I get to choose however I want this to work. I can run different tasks. I can open up the terminal. I can have fly out for code changes and see everything in line for everything that was created, create the commits, do pull requests, create subsessions, and so much more. Okay, so one last thing I want to show is this amazing feature that allows you not only just to connect locally to GitHub or to a remote tunnel machine. Now, this is an experimental feature, but you can SSH to another machine or use a Cloud Dev tunnel, which means you can create a tunnel from another machine and connect to it from this machine. So for example, I could go ahead and open a dev tunnel on my Windows machine and then connect to that basically agent sessions directly from here. Better yet, though, I could connect from the browser. So if I go to vscode.dev/agents, I can log in with my GitHub account. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. And now I'm going to go ahead and sign in. Now, once I do, we can see on the bottom left that it is connecting to my desktop machine. And this machine over here is my Windows machine. So let's go ahead and connect here. Boom. Now I'm able to select any different workspace on that remote machine. So I'm going to go into Documents first over here. So let's go into Documents. And then I'm going to select Tiny Tool Town. Now Tiny Tool Town is running, yes, you guessed it, on my Windows machine. So I can go ahead and spin up a new session on a work tree, but this is going to be doing it on my Windows machine. In fact, I know it is because if I come over here, we can open the terminal, and this is running PowerShell with Oh My Posh because it's running on my other machine. So if I say dir, for example, here's my dir. I can of course say ls because PowerShell allows both, but this is forwarding those commands over there. Now I could also come and then fire up sessions. So here we have the approval. So I say, let's add a fun James Montemagno theme for Oregon and fire that off. And we can see the sessions working over here. The cool part here is that I could then connect from my Mac machine. I could also connect from my mobile device and see this working all in real time. All right, that is a very not brief overview of Agents window and how I use it, at least in real time, to manage all of my active sessions. I find it really cool. Now, I know I clicked around a lot, right? I clicked around, saw the different sessions, saw the different things, committing code, updating code, but I wanted to give you a breakdown of as many features as I could possibly think of. And this thing is rapidly evolving, and it lives inside of the VS Code repo. So if you have feedback on the Agents window, go to github.com/Microsoft/VS Code and leave the feedback there for the team. The team is updating it every single week alongside VS Code because it's part of VS Code, enabling you to manage and go back and forth between the editor and your agent's view. All right, there you go. That is a full overview, sort of crash course of how I use the agents window inside of VS Code. I really, really like it. I don't have it open all the time. However, when I am starting to work on multiple projects and have agent sessions running everywhere, it's super helpful. One of my common flows that I actually have is on my ultra wide, I'll have the agents window on the left-hand side, and then my VS Code code first on the right-hand side. So that allows me to work on multiple sessions, and then I can just pin over on the right-hand side the current code base that I want to focus in on in VS Code. And that little open an editor button is really nice when working in different work trees. All right, have you tried out the agents window in that top right? Have you opened it up, given it a try? If you have, let me know what you think in the show notes below down there in the comments section. I'd love to hear your feedback on how you're using agents every single day when managing multiple agent sessions. That's going to do it for this video. So until next time, you know the things to do: like, subscribe, and smash that notification button so you get notified every single time I put out a video right here on my YouTube. That's going to do it for this one. So until next time, thanks for watching.